Now in unit 3, we are going to discuss about the next object-oriented feature which is supported by C++, that is reusability or inheritance. Okay, so unit 2 will cover the next object-oriented feature which is supported by C++, that is reusability or inheritance. Now what it is and why we need it. So now let us take example of maybe a student. Okay, so student class is there. So there as a student, this is student class, and each student is having its own properties like roll number. Now I'll not mention the data type and I'm not following the syntax. Here I'm explaining the concept. ठीक है ना? तो वैसे ज़्यादा syntax में अभी I'll not waste much of the time in writing all the syntax issues. So suppose student class is there, roll number, name, address, so many attributes you have described here. Okay. Now, suppose this project you are developing for PCCOE, wherein different students of different courses are there. Like some of the students have taken admission for BTech, some of them have taken admission for MCA, some of them have taken admission for MBA. So, if I say BTech student, then I'll say MCA student, then I will say MBA student, etc., etc. Diploma hai, polytechnic है, so many are there. Let us consider 3 examples now. तो ये 3 टाइप के students हैं यहाँ पे. So for all these 3 types of student, what attributes you need to store, irrespective of whether it is MBA student, MCA student, किसी भी type का student होने दो. What are the basic features which are required for all these 3 types of student? These 3 at least: roll number, irrespective of course, each student should have roll number, name, address. Okay, so these are the basic. Maybe other things also you can add, a mobile number and so on as per requirement, but these are the common feature irrespective of whether it is BTech, MCA or MBA student, है ना? But now, do they have their specific features also apart from the common feature? Do they?
No.
नो, MCA, MBA कोई उनके अलग अलग फीचर्स नहीं है? Yes, possible है. BTech student, MCA student, they are having their own features.
Yes, ma'am.
Like, can you suggest?
Degree.
Sorry?
Branch.
Branch, yes. For BTech student, branch will be applicable.
Number of years.
Subject.
Correct, duration. Branch is applicable for BTech student, which is not applicable for MCA, but may be applicable for MBA. MBA means specialization. It is called as not branch, but specialization. Okay, so then next is duration is also different, right? So the point here is that all they are types of student. Okay, all these 3 are type of student only. They share some common properties, but they have their own unique properties as well. जैसे कि यहाँ पे देखा हमने बीटेक स्टूडेंट के लिए ब्रांच, इट कैन बी कंप्यूटर, मैकेनिकल, सिविल ब्रांच. ओके, फॉर MBA student specialization like HR, marketing and all that. Okay, finance. So each student is having some common properties and some specific properties based on to which course it belongs. Okay, so in such situation, can I say that BTech student, MCA student and MBA student are types of student? Are types of student? Is it true, this statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So whenever this type of relationship is there, you can use inheritance. Whenever type of relationship is there, then you can use inheritance. Okay, na? So for type of relationship, you can use inheritance. अब इसका purpose क्या है? Like say here, if I'm saying roll number, name and address I required everywhere. तो एक method मेरे पास ये है कि everywhere for all the students I need, all types of student I need these three properties. तो मैं हर एक जगह पे ये property डालूंगी. ठीक है, ये बीटेक स्टूडेंट के लिए. अगेन फॉर एमसीए ऑल्सो वी नीड दीज थ्री एंड अगेन फॉर एमबीए ऑल्सो आई नीड दीज थ्री. है कि नहीं? So for all these three types of student, I need these three properties. Okay. So instead of that, can I have a mechanism wherein I can define all the common properties at one place, and whenever required, I can fetch them. I can take those properties whenever required. Okay. So here, instead of here, if I don't have this student, okay, I have to put all these properties everywhere, क्योंकि MCA student के लिए भी ये तीन property चाहिए, इसके लिए और MBA के लिए भी. So these common properties everywhere I have to repeat. इसके अपने कुछ functions भी है, like irrespective of whatever is the course, each student is having some common functionality also. Okay, like appearing for the exams, then placement activities. So common activities are there, uncommon activities or specific activities are also there for all these three different types of student. Okay, so the point here is that instead of repeating these this data or the functions which are required for all these types of student, can I have a mechanism wherein I can put all the common things at one place and I can borrow it or I can fetch them whenever they require. Okay, so this is possible with the help of inheritance. So what do we do in inheritance? All the common properties, instead of repeating it here, at every place, I'll put common properties at one place. एक जगह पे रख दिया मैंने, and I'm calling all these are what types of student. तो उस class का नाम क्या चाहिए? I'll put it in one class and name that class as student class. Okay, so this is student class which will have these common properties as well as it is having its own functionality. Maybe appearing for exam, giving exam is one function. Okay. Then display all these data is one function. Okay, or to accept all these inputs is one function. Placement activities function, which are common for all. Okay, if common placement drive is there. So these are some common attributes and the functionality which are applicable to all. So I'll put common things at one place and I'll borrow them whenever they are required. It is actually required for all three classes. Okay, always each student will have all these properties. So I'll borrow them here. And this is possible with the help of inheritance. So inheritance मतलब क्या है कि common properties put together and specific properties to be put in that specific class. अब जैसे कि branch is applicable only to this, so I'll not put branch in the common class. Okay, like specialization is applicable only to MBA, so I'll put it only in this MBA class. I'll not put it in common place. So specific attributes, specific functionality to be put in that class, respective class, whereas common attributes and common functionality to be put in the common class. Okay, this is nothing but inheritance. This is nothing but inheritance. And to borrow them, inheritance matlab ye sab attributes or functionality we can borrow in all these three classes. Okay, yes. So this is nothing but inheritance. We inherit from the parent class. So this is called as the parent class or base class. Okay, student is called as, this inheritance is used when type of relationship is there. Like all these are three types of students. So we use inheritance when type of relationship is there. Second important thing that we have learned is, first thing is we use it for type of relationship, inheritance. Second important thing about this is base class and child class or derived class. Derived class. Okay, so here base class is the common class. Okay, like student is called as the base class or parent class, whereas derived class, all these three classes are called as child or derived class. Okay, so this is the base class which hold all the common properties and the functionality, whereas these are the child or derived class. Okay, which will hold all the specific properties. Okay, and the purpose is unnecessarily, see here we are repeating. If we don't take this base class, then we need to repeat all these attributes and functionality everywhere in all these three classes. So instead of that, we are putting it together in one common class. Okay, and then we are fetching them here, or we are inheriting them here in all three classes. So this is the concept of inheritance. Okay, with this inheritance, what we are promoting, which object oriented feature we are promoting with inheritance? Reusability. Third thing is it supports reusability. Reusability, which is a object oriented feature. Object oriented feature. Okay, so the so how reusability is supported here? As I've explained, this I've placed at one place and I can reuse it everywhere. I've placed these common things here at one place and I can reuse them everywhere for all the derived classes. So this is how the reusability concept is supported with the help of inheritance. Okay, so these are the important points related to inheritance. First important thing is it is used when we have type of relationship. Type of relationship, जैसे कि यहाँ पे example है, MCA, BTech and MBA student are type of student. Type of student. So whenever type of relationship is there, we use inheritance. Second important thing is the class which is holding the common attributes and functionality is called as the base class, like in this case student class. And the class holding the specific properties, okay, like this and these three, these are called as derived classes or child class. Okay, these are the children of class student. Okay, so base class and these three are derived classes. And third important thing that we have learned related to inheritance is it supports reusability. How it supports reusability? Because common attributes and functionality we keep it at one place and we can reuse them as and when required. We just have to inherit this class. इस क्लास को, स्टूडेंट क्लास को जैसे ही हम इनहेरिट करते हैं, we can reuse all these attributes and functionality. So with the help of inheritance, we can say that C++ supports reusability, which is object oriented feature. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
यस, इनहेरिटेंस। सी कॉन्सेप्ट अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज इंपॉर्टेंट। मैंने जैसे बोला है, हर एक कॉन्सेप्ट का एक एक एग्जाम्पल आप फिट कर लो दिमाग में। ये ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड फीचर्स या लैंग्वेजेस लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्निंग है। यू कीप विथ ईच फीचर, यू कीप वन एग्जाम्पल इन योर माइंड। दिस इज द इजिएस्ट वे टू रिमेंबर इट फॉर इयर्स। ओके, एक एक एग्जाम्पल कहाँ पे ये एप्लीकेबल होता है। So you keep one example in mind. So this will help you to remember this concept for your entire career, you can say. Okay, lifelong learning. Okay, so make is it clear? Inheritance is clear to everyone, so that we can start with the actual theory part of it. कुछ इसमें doubt है? Whatever we have discussed so far?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay. So let us start with this presentation now. Inheritance. Inheritance is a mechanism of reusing and extending the existing classes, है ना? Reusability and extending the existing classes. जैसे student class को हमने extend किया in MCA, MBA and BTech without modifying them. Okay, as it is we are extending, as it is we are reusing, thus producing hierarchical relationship between them. Okay, so we are creating one hierarchy wherein student is a base class and MCA, MBA and BTech are the derived classes. So we are creating the hierarchy here. Any new class that you create from an existing class is called as derived class, and the existing class is called as base class. The syntax of derived class, how to derive the class, the syntax goes like this. This is the keyword class. This is the name of the derived class. This is the visibility mode in which you want to inherit the base class, and this is the name of the base class. ये syntax हो गया, और फिर ये आपका derived class का definition यहाँ पे. Okay, with example it is easy to understand. This is the example. Like already you have defined one class A. ये class A आपने ऊपर define कर दिया. Okay, and then in class B you are inheriting class A. Okay.
Yes.
So this is the class A which you are inheriting. Okay, and this is what? This is the visibility mode. Visibility mode कौन कौन से हो सकते हैं? तीन अलग अलग हो सकते हैं. Public, private, and now in inheritance we'll introduce third visibility mode or access specifier, which is called as protected. What is the meaning of it? We'll discuss it shortly. So class B is inheriting class A. So now, which is the derived class here?
B.
B.
B is the derived
B.
class. And which is the base class or parent class?
A.
A.
A is the
A.
base class or parent class. Correct. So first let us understand what is the visibility mode, then we'll come to one example, okay, to understand this concept in further detail. So let us understand what is the meaning of this visibility mode. So as I told you, three visibility modes are there: private, protected and public. Okay, private is what? Visible to member functions within its class that we know, and supports data heading completely. Okay, this is just access specifier point of view. We are revising this. Okay, just what is private? It is visible to member functions within its class and it supports data heading completely. Public is what? Visible to all functions in the program. हर एक functions मतलब outside world को जो visible है, that is called as public. Okay, and what is protected? Protected is visible to member function of its own and immediate derived class. तो protected is somewhere in between solution. मतलब कैसा है कि public is accessible to the outside world, private is only accessible to the member function, and protected is something which is visible to member function as well as the derived class. Member function मतलब it is similar to private member function को accessible है, तो protected is also visible only to the member function, but in addition to that it is also accessible to the immediate derived class. Okay, so it supports data hiding to certain extent. Yes, it is intermediate solution. To certain extent it supports data hiding, क्योंकि इसमें भी थोड़ा सा एक कंस्ट्रेंट है. इट इज एक्सेसिबल टू मेंबर फंक्शन एंड ओनली टू द इमीडिएट डिराइव्ड क्लास. बाकी सब क्लासेस या आउटसाइड मेंबर को ये एक्सेसिबल नहीं होते, प्रोटेक्टेड. Okay, whereas public doesn't support data hiding because these members are accessible to the entire or you can say to all to the outside world. Okay, so private completely supports data hiding because these members will be accessible to only member function. Public doesn't support data hiding because these members can be accessed by the outside world. और protected is a intermediate solution जहां पे ये जो भी आप प्रोटेक्टेड स्कोप में डेटा रखते हो तो दैट डेटा इज एक्सेसिबल टू मेंबर फंक्शन एंड टू इट्स डिराइव्ड क्लास ओनली. Okay, but not to the outside world, and that is the reason you can say that to certain extent it supports data hiding, protected also. Okay, so these three access specifiers are there. Actually, till now we have only discussed about private and public, but now as inheritance is there and you have understood what is the meaning of derived class, now we are discussing this third access specifier, which is protected. So only these three access specifiers are there in C++. Now there are different types of inheritance based on the visibility mode. These are the access specifier point of view. We have seen the difference, but now visibility mode point of view, what is the difference? So that we are going to discuss now. Just before discussing this, this diagram is easy actually to understand. Suppose this is the base class, class B is the base class, है ना, जैसे कि हमारा student class है. Now in this class, base class, three different access specifiers I have mentioned. कुछ variables मैंने private scope में डाले हैं, कुछ variable protected में और कुछ variable मैंने public में डाल रखे हैं. Okay. Now from one class I can inherit in multiple classes. मतलब ऐसे कुछ नहीं कि class B को एक ही class में inherit कर सकते हैं. Now this class B I am inheriting in class B1 as well as class B2. दोनों ही class में हम inherit कर रहे हैं इसको. Okay. So when I am inheriting, the syntax is class, this is the name of the derived class, and then this colon is there. Okay, colon is there. After that, I have to mention the visibility mode and the name of the base class. Base class कौन सा है यहाँ पे? B. So name of the base class is B. And in which visibility mode I'm inheriting? In public. Okay. So when I'm inheriting in the public mode, what happens is the members which are there in the protected scope in the base class will become the protected member of the derived class. मतलब जितने भी protected members है वो derived class में यहाँ पे आ जाएंगे protected scope में, और जितने भी public members है वो कहाँ पे आएंगे? Public scope में. After inheritance, the data which is available in the protected will come in protected section, and the data which is available in the public will become public here. See why this is important, I'll tell you. Just coming back to this example now, we have seen that all these attributes we can inherit in all these three classes. ठीक है ना, मतलब ये सारे attributes मेरे member हो जाएंगे यहाँ पे automatically. After inheritance, what will happen? That all these all these five members will become member of these three derived classes. लेकिन ये member होने के बाद what will be the scope of these five members? Because in object oriented language, scope or access specifier is one important concept. Okay, so after inheritance, what will be the scope of all these members? So that we have to discuss next. तो अगर मान लो यहाँ पे these variables we have discussed in private scope. Some of the variables you have discussed in you have declared in private scope. So first rule with private, what we have seen, प्राइवेट का रूल क्या है? जस्ट कमिंग बैक टू दिस, विजिबल टू मेंबर फंक्शन विद इन इट्स क्लास। इसके अलावा कहीं पे ये एक्सेसिबल है प्राइवेट मेंबर्स?
No, ma'am.
नो,
No.
इट इज ओनली विजिबल टू मेंबर फंक्शन। अब इससे विल ट्राई टू रिलेट इट हियर। अगर मान लो यहाँ पे प्राइवेट में सम वेरिएबल आई डिक्लेयर लाइक कुछ उसका अकाउंट नंबर होगा स्टूडेंट का, ओके, एंड द अदर मेंबर्स आई एम डिक्लेयरिंग इन प्रोटेक्टेड मोड फॉर एग्जाम्पल, ठीक है? तो ऐसा हमारा स्टूडेंट क्लास है। तो नाउ when we are saying any data is available in the private scope, the meaning is that as per definition, coming back to definition, it is visible to only member function. member function कौन से स्टूडेंट के? only exam and display. So only these two member can access account number. इसके अलावा there is no way to access account number. Are you getting the point? Only these two member can access account number. No other function, irrespective of आप उसको inherit करो, कुछ भी कर लो. The other than that, only one method is there, that is friend function we have seen. Okay, friend function is one concept which can take the private data. Okay, so one method to access private member is using member function. Another method is to use friend function. इसके अलावा और कोई भी मेथड नहीं है प्राइवेट को एक्सेस करने की, ओके, प्राइवेट मेंबर्स को एक्सेस करने के लिए. नाउ इफ आई मेक ऑल दीज थिंग्स पब्लिक, मुझे अब कैसा है कि मुझे रोल नंबर, नेम एंड एड्रेस आई हैव टू एक्सेस इन ऑल दीज 3 क्लासेस, है कि नहीं? तो आई कैन नॉट पुट दीज रोल नंबर, नेम एंड एड्रेस इन प्राइवेट स्कोप. अगर मैंने मान लो इसे प्राइवेट कर दिया 3 वेरिएबल्स को, तो देन ओनली एग्जाम एंड डिस्प्ले कैन एक्सेस इट. ये तीन वेरिएबल्स, सॉरी, ये 3 क्लासेस एक्सेस नहीं कर सकते उसे. आर यू एग्री विद दिस? Do you agree this?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's the reason I can't put it in the private scope. क्योंकि reason is that अगर मैंने ऐसे कर दिया यहाँ पे कर दिया, okay, all these are private members. So in this case, what will happen? Only your exam and display function can access it. I cannot access this roll number, name and address in these 3 classes. क्योंकि private member cannot be accessed to any other क्लास, एनी अदर क्लास. ओके, तो इसके लिए मुझे सॉल्यूशन क्या है? अगर मुझे ये 3 मेंबर्स में, ये 3 क्लासेस में अगर इसे एक्सेस करना है, ये कॉमन डेटा को, सो व्हाट इज द सॉल्यूशन फॉर दैट? आई कैन मेक इट एज पब्लिक. ठीक है, तो पब्लिक से क्या हो जाएगा? विद पब्लिक आई कैन एक्सेस इट इन ऑल दीज 3 क्लासेस. लेकिन मुझे एक्सेस किस तरीके से करने हैं ऑल दीज 3 वेरिएबल? सो एक्सेस करने के लिए all these 3 variables I want to access here, and just assume that here one more class is there. इस क्लास का क्या नाम है? स्टूडेंट क्लास किसे एक्सेसिबल नहीं होता है कि कॉलेज में स्टूडेंट क्लास, हाँ चलो टीचर ही लेते हैं. टीचर को एक्सेस तो चाहिए, बट दिस इज परफेक्ट एग्जांपल. नाउ टीचर इज आल्सो वन क्लास इन कॉलेज. ठीक है ना? टीचर के लिए भी आपको कुछ ऑब्जेक्ट बनाने पड़ेंगे. सो टीचर इज आल्सो वन क्लास. नाउ कैन आई से दैट इन टीचर आल्सो आई नीड टू इनहेरिट स्टूडेंट? In all these 3 classes, I can say that I want to inherit student class. Student is my base class. These are the 3 derived classes. तो इन तीनों classes के लिए मुझे क्या करना चाहिए? I have to inherit student class so that all these members will become part of my class. Okay. So inheritance से क्या होता है? When you inherit, what will happen? When you inherit कैसे करते हैं? Just now we have seen the syntax. I'll inherit it for only one class here, just to understand the syntax. See, this is class MCA. In class MCA, how to inherit student? Colon, yes, and then I have to mention the visibility mode. तो मान लो यहाँ पे मैंने public डाल दिया, okay, and then name of the base class, name of this base class is student. So this is how I inherit this student class, okay. Similarly for this also I have to inherit student class. If I have to inherit student class, same syntax I need to follow for this also. तो इसको भी करते हैं, तो so that you will understand that at multiple places you can inherit one class. ये थोड़ा मुझे shuffling करना पड़ता है so that no इसकी visibility आपको. Now here also I have to inherit student class. So how to inherit? Colon, then visibility mode. Let us make it public only. Okay. इसका meaning क्या है? I am going to explain you public का. But this is visibility mode and the name of the base class. Okay. Similarly for MBA भी आपको ये करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है? I am not repeating it for MBA now. As I hope you have understood the meaning. So I can inherit the base class, same base class at multiple places. मैंने MCA में भी inherit किया, यहाँ पे भी inherit किया. अब इसका meaning क्या होता है? Just before discussing this, teacher को discuss करने से पहले, like what is the meaning of this? We'll try to understand. When I inherit this, whenever I create the object in main, ये आपका main function है, suppose. In main, what I'll do is I'll create the object of now. Say for example, अब यहाँ पे PCCOE में MCA के students होंगे, BTech के students हैं, MTech के student हैं. तो generally, whenever inheritance is there, we are supposed to create object of which class? Derived class or base class? This is the first question now.
Derived.
Everyone agree? आपको क्वेश्चन समझ में आ रहा है? Can time being I can delete this because MBA को हम delete कर देते हैं. We consider only two types of student क्योंकि यहाँ पे ना space constraint is there. Okay?
Yes.
हाँ. So time being will consider only two derived classes, MCA student and BTech student. So in main, the question is that should I create the object of the base class? Is it required? See, generally when we talk about this PCCOE college, we can say that in MCA we have admission of 60 students. है कि नहीं? MCA में कितने admission है? Say 60 का intake है. तो for MCA student class, I'll create object. How many objects to be created? अरे ये क्या हो गया? MCS हो गया. MCA. So MCA के लिए how many objects are required here?
60.
Right. क्योंकि 60 का intake है. Right. Next, BTech. For BTech, suppose total intake कितना 1000 का हो गया ना? हाँ. So for BTech से for example, BTech student total intake is say for example 1000. तो कितने ऑब्जेक्ट बनाए हमने बीटेक के लिए? 1000 ऑब्जेक्ट बनाए. Okay. So likewise, the question is that do I need to create the object of the student? Like simply a student which is not does any student exist which has not taken admission to any of these courses, either of the courses? ऐसा कोई student होगा?
No.
No. Student will be either MCA student, BTech student, MBA student, Polytechnic student. कहीं तो किसी कोर्स को तो उसने admission लिया ही होगा. Then only we are calling it as a student, right? So I don't require to create the object of the base class. Generally, I am telling you generally. In general, it is not a thumb rule. मतलब ऐसे कुछ नहीं है कि मैं create नहीं कर सकती. I can create object of the student class. It is very much possible. आप कर सकते हो. Yes, syntactically it is possible, but semantically ये जरूरत है, कोई एक स्टूडेंट होगा जिसने किसी भी कोर्स के लिए एडमिशन नहीं लिया है, जस्ट वो स्टूडेंट है, ऐसे होगा सिचुएशन? नहीं होता है कॉलेजेस में, राइट? सो generally not a thumb rule, but generally we don't require to create the object of the base class. ये general है, but not a thumb rule. मतलब ऐसे कुछ नहीं कि create नहीं कर सकते. Sometimes, rarely in some application if required you can create, but general rule I am saying you 99% generally we create object of the derived classes. Is it clear? First important thing.
Yes.
Yes, related to object creation. Now next important thing about object creation is whenever I create the object of the MCA student, यहाँ पे हमने object create किया है. For example, the first object is what? OBJ and index would be 0. हमने क्या create किया है? ये array create किया है. तो OBJ of 0 में कौन कौन से attributes रहेंगे? हमने यहाँ पे like MCA में have we added any attribute in this MCA class?
No.
नहीं है.
No.
But we are inheriting student. Inheriting मतलब क्या है? We are making these attribute as part of my class only. Inheritance मतलब reusability. हम inherit कर रहे हैं, as the name suggests. We are inheriting all these attributes and we are putting it in my class only. Okay. So whenever object is created, what will happen? Space will be created for all these three objects, the three data member, because of inheritance. Okay, so object 0 में क्या होगा? Space will be created for all these three public member. Will it create the space for account number? No, because this is private member और private member inheritance से आप access नहीं कर सकते. Private member can be accessed only to this member function or to friend function. Apart from that, private member कहीं बाहर नहीं जा सकता है. Okay, it completely supports data hiding. ये hide रहेगा आपका data from even the derived classes. So only public members you can access in the derived class. Is it clear? Yes. तो ये जो public members है, for all these public member, space will be created. Okay, and this is for which object? This is for the object of MCA student. इसको हम नाम सेम नहीं दे सकते, तो M underscore object नाम देते हैं इसको, और BTech वालों को B underscore object नाम देते हैं. Okay, तो for MCA object M underscore object, this space will be created. Okay, now say for example from user we are taking the value, so these values will put here. और एड्रेस हम डाल देंगे यहाँ पे पुणे. Okay, so this is about the first object of MCA. वैसे ही how many object we have created? 60 object हमने करके रखे. तो Control C, I'll say Control V, I'll copy it. So this is again the second object of MCA only, roll number 2, and suppose here roll number 2 is from Mumbai. Okay. So likewise, how many objects will be created? 60 object will be created for MCA. So is it clear? Inheritance matlab, just while writing the program, we are keeping all the attributes and functionality common in the base class. लेकिन जब उसके ऑब्जेक्ट बनते हैं, तो ऑब्जेक्ट में ये सारे वेरिएबल्स के लिए स्पेस क्रिएट होती है, इंक्लूडिंग इट्स ओन मेंबर्स एज वेल एज द इनहेरिटेड मेंबर. हर एक के लिए स्पेस क्रिएट होगा फॉर ऑब्जेक्ट. Is it clear? When we are creating the object, space will be created. Though, see, while writing the program, have I included these data member here? इस क्लास में मैंने डाले हैं इनको? No, I didn't put. ये जो हमने variable declaration यहाँ पे किया है, int roll number, then char array, then similarly for address also. Okay, so this this entire thing, I haven't declared all these variables in. See, यहाँ पे हमने while writing the program, I haven't declared it here in the class MCS student. यहाँ पे नहीं किए मैंने, है ना? मैंने यहाँ पे नहीं किए. All these variables are put only in the student class, which is a base class. But by inheriting it, मैंने क्या किया यहाँ पे? I'm inheriting this student class. So inheritance means what? All the data members and function which are available in the base class will become the member of the derived class automatically. Yes, all these data members and function will become member of the derived class whenever we are inheriting. No need to mention it here. हम mention नहीं कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे, declare नहीं कर रहे. We are not putting it here. But in spite of that, all these members, member data and function will become part of my derived classes. Part of derived classes का meaning क्या हुआ? Whenever you create the object of those derived classes, all these space will be created for all these members. तो ये तीनों member के लिए space हर एक object में create होगा. For all 60 object of MCA, space will be allocated for all these 3 members. Okay, but not account member because this is private one. Is it clear? Now next example is about BTech. BTech के लिए हमने कितने object create करके रखे हैं? 1000. So let us create one object for BTech to understand this. Control C, Control V. Just I'll try to copy it. ठीक है? So now this is which object? क्या change करना है? BTech object का नाम क्या है? B underscore object. So similarly here this is B underscore object. So 0 object में again these 3 members will space will be given to these 3 member. Okay, तो यहाँ पे भी BTech का roll number 1 होगा. Roll number 1 का नाम से for example here, and yeah, he is from maybe say Delhi. Okay, so this is what this student is from BTech, roll number 1 BTech. His name is this and address is this. Okay, he is from Delhi. So these 3 attributes will be available to BTech class. Okay, BTech student. But in addition to that, we have one more member here. Here I have declared one more character variable branch, and like this. यहाँ पे in this class, I just forget to put class here. है ना, यहाँ पे class होना चाहिए.
Yes.
So class BTech, which is inheriting public in public mode the student class. So here it is inheriting student class means all these members are available to BTech. In addition to that, it is having its own member also, जो कि MCA में नहीं था, but यहाँ पे है branch. So here, whenever we are creating the object, space is also created for branch because it is its own member. Okay, so branch maybe com. Okay, so this is how the objects are created. So I hope this example covers all the different aspect wherein I have taken different example wherein in derived class I am not having any other specific attribute. This is also possible. और जहाँ पे यहाँ पे मैंने उसका specific attribute लिया है branch. Here specific attribute is not there. Only I am inheriting the common attributes. So common attribute if I am inheriting, the space will be given to only those attributes. अगर किसी derived class में apart from common attribute, if you are declaring specific attribute, so space is given to those common attribute as well as to the specific attribute. Okay, so similarly, now how many objects of BTech? Time is over. Okay, so 1000 object of BTech student will be created here. Okay, so this is about the object creation for in inheritance. So I hope this concept is clear to everyone. I'll just mark the attendance in case if you have any doubt related to this. Okay, so maybe we can discuss it in tomorrow's lecture. Okay, so now you can leave this classroom. Thank you everyone. Yes, thank you everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Yes.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you everyone. PCCOE.